Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the IDH. This is their part number 11278SB 005. Here it is. This is a surface bolt. That's the SB in the part number. The 005 is their code or designation for what we would call a 609 finish, or US 5. Better called 609 because that would tell us it's a bronze base material with a brass base material with an antique brass finish on it. 12-inch is what the length is. And the 11278, not sure what that means. That's just their part number. There must be a logic behind their code. Again, SB will be surface bolt. So 12-inch, let's take a closer look. Overall length of the brass rod itself, that's where the 12 inch is coming in. Width of it, about 5/8. Thickness of the rod, just heavy on a quarter, maybe 5/16. Diameter of the knob, for the sake of measuring it, looks like it's about 1 1/8 inches. Projection, total projection, about 1 1/4 inches. Weighs 1.2 pounds, so it's not light at all. And where would you use this? Obviously somewhere where you are going to secure a door. Why would you use a 12-inch versus an 8 or a 6 or a 18 or a 36 or a 48? Really about positioning of the bolt on the door in relationship to the height of the door perhaps and the access point. You may have typical 6'8" doors, and you maybe are on the shorter side and you don't want to have to really get on a step stool to manipulate that bolt, and you might want a longer bolt. You might have an 8-foot or a 9-foot door, probably not a 9-foot door, but you might have, you know, a door that's taller than average, and you want the surface bolt to be within reach. I can reach up and basically get to about 80-inch without any trouble. You know, going to 8-foot, this is going to be too short certainly, but you know, this might be really great for, might be really pleasant for 7-foot doors, a little bit taller. Or you have doors that are just more epic in not only size but in presentation. Might be thicker, might be more ornate, might justify the use of a larger piece of hardware like this, like a 12-inch surface bolt. But generally, door height is why you're going to have a longer bolt. So this is going to have these mounting points. Let's take a look. Which I really believe that they're also known as guides. They are guides. They serve as to guide the bolt, but also they serve to allow you to mount the unit as well. And their projection is going to be governed by the amount of throw that the bolt is permitted. And it's really governed by the distance from the mounting point to this roll pin that's been installed. So the question always is, what's the projection? Well, here's the projection. From the mounting point to the roll pin, looks like it's about 1 1/8 inch projection is what the throw that you're going to get out of this. Okay. Now we're going to go over the strikes that are included as well. The strikes included with this are going to permit you to install this in any application that you're going to bump into. A mortise strike you're going to have here, about 2 1/8 by 13/16. First of all, let me also measure the width of the mounting point of the guides. Looks like they're about 1 5/8 inches overall width. You're going to then have a T-strike, or maybe what would be better called a rim strike. 1 7/8 or so overall here, about 1 9/16. Then you're going to have an angle strike. The angle strike is unusual, but it's easy where it goes 2 inch by 1/2 inch by about 15/16. Now, where do we use these strikes? Where will we use these? The bottom line is, with the strikes included, you're going to install this either horizontally on a door that swings out or in, or vertically on a door that swings out or in as well. So let's take a look. We'll switch to the screen view and take a closer look at the supporting information here. Okay, so this is the item that we are here looking at. 11278SB 005. Generic representation. Let's first search the site for the other available finishes. 003 is polished brass. 004 is satin brass. 005 is antique brass. 008, that's a bright copper. That's pretty unusual. People occasionally will buy that. 014 is a bright nickel. 015 is a satin nickel. 019 is black. 026 polished chrome. 08A is an antique copper, even less common. 10B is oil rubbed bronze. 15A is antique nickel. 26D is satin chrome. 3NL is polished brass, solid brass, polished brass without a lacquer. The 003 will have a lacquer applied to it. Why people want 3 no lacquer is because they literally want the hardware to patina with exposure to the environment without any obstacle in that process happening. The lacquer on 003 will eventually fatigue and fail, but this is going to, the 3NL is going to age, wear the polish down, and transform itself to match the environment, giving you a look of worn hardware as it pertains to what weather-beaten hardware would ultimately look like. There are people who want that look. So we are dealing here with the 005. Now, dimensional properties are provided. Mortise, angle strike, what they call a universal strike. Yeah, the universal is what I called T-strike. Product page is here. It was right here. A variety of different bolts are going to be included here. You can see that let's see here now. IDH has different sizes, so be mindful of what you're ordering. So, you know, would your tip of your bolt to the center of your handle be that size? No, it'd be about 1 inch less. So they can get up to 36 inch. We are able to produce bolts longer than that if necessary. But if you have a standard door, 8 inches is pretty common. People will also use longer bolts, and I didn't mention it earlier, at the bottom of the door. Why? Well, because they don't want to bend over so far to get to the bolt. That's exactly why. A very, not uncommon is the bottom line. Okay. Standard guides, as you can see. They do show some colonial style, ornamental style they call it. Standard guides and ornamental. I don't see how they specify or give us the ability to order them as an ornamental bolt. Okay, yeah, so it's literally a different part number. That's how that's done. So they are all literally different part numbers to get the ornamental guide. I didn't know if they were, I didn't know how it was specified. So different part numbers. So if we were going to do the 11278, 11278 is going to be the heavy-duty surface bolt with round knob, standard guides, 12 inch. Heavy-duty, round knob, ornamental, 12 inch would be a 11208. Although apparently they can do a 3-inch length barrel guide as well, not in the 12-inch size, so be mindful of that. That would be your closest conversion from what we have here in this video. Okay, so let's take a look at where we're going to use these 3 different strikes. It's really difficult to get these installed in such a way that, it's not obvious where it's going to go. Mortise, angle, what they're calling universal. So let's take a look. You can have a door. This is a top view down, door that swings in, okay? You can literally mount that bolt horizontally, is what you could do. Now into here, you're going to use probably what they're calling the universal strike. It's going to hang off here, okay? And you're going to have that hole prep through it, your bolt will come through. Okay, you can use the universal strike for that. So the universal strike is really going to be used in swing applications exclusively. So if you have an in-swing application, I may have referred to that strike as a rim strike, and it's because it's really used to be installed, on the outer perimeter of the door. So here, when you are on the inside, the interior of the space here. Now, if you were going to consider installing this some other way, if you were installing it on the push side, my question to you is where would you put it? How would you place it? The answer is you really wouldn't. There's nowhere on the push side for it to go. So if it's an in-swing application, you're going to be using what they call the universal strike. Now the rim strike, the mortise strike, well, that's just this one. That's awful. Sorry, no artist. I am. You would then take that and you would mortise it into this type of situation where you are mounting something on what would be the push side. Okay. There's really no way to install that over on the pull side. So that bolt, is going to run in here. Is where you would put your mortise strike. Now, when it comes to the angle strike, the angle strike can certainly be used in a couple of different applications, depending really on the conditions in which you're going to install it. But really where I'm going to expect to see this installed would be very possibly at the header of your opening. You've got your door. It's going to be mounted on and this is just shown grossly open. That door would really be sitting much closer, obviously. So you have your door, your bolt. And that angle strike can go right in here, in this area, where you would mortise all that area away. Everything here you could mortise to allow for, that's this strike that we're dealing with here. Okay, the angle strike. So you could mortise it up there. You could also apply that if this was now going to be a door. If you had the ability to, if you had some sort of trim work or the inset of the frame was such that you could mortise that here, you could probably put it there on the pull side as well, but you'd really have to have the right frame condition to allow that, meaning your inset would have to be greater than typical for that application, although it might work depending on the dimensions. But I'll see that installed up here. Occasionally see it over here as well. So now at this point we've discussed whether it be a pull side mount or a push side mount. The strike is going to be included. That's going to allow you to get the hardware attached to the door. Okay, and work very well. Now below this video here is a link to the manufacturer's page, and from there you can pull up not only all of the IDH products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but as well as a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the product catalog. I would very much recommend that you review their entire product catalog because you're going to see hardware here that is primarily made of brass in a variety of different, very nice, high-quality finishes, a variety of trim and auxiliary hardware, including those pieces of equipment that you may find difficult to source from your more traditional suppliers, your more traditional manufacturers. What I mean by that is, historically, you could buy bolts like this from certain manufacturers. You can't anymore because they stopped selling them. So from IDH, you can get some of these long bolts. Another perfect example of that might be unique, more modern door stops. An example of that might be casement adjusters. That's not available by common manufacturers anymore. Okay, casement locks, variety of window hardware, variations on finger lifts, sash pulls, a shutter bar. That's neat. Those are used in a variety of unique applications. My father literally, in the over-under stove that was original to the home I grew up in, Illinois, from the early 1960s, the over-under stove combination, the Dutch oven combination. The spring broke. That would lift the door back up. Irreplaceable. 40 years old at that point. Not 40, gosh, no. It would be 20 years old at that point. 25, maybe. Spring broke. Can't get the spring. My dad slapped a shutter bar onto it. Us being a hardware company, we're going to use solutions that we have at within arm's reach. So a shutter bar went right onto the trim to the oven door. Worked perfectly, no problems, never came loose. Solved the problem ideally. Coat hooks, handrail brackets, cabinet hardware, hinges. They've got some nice hinges, especially these cabinet hinges. That's what is called a non-mortise hinge. You'll use that on obviously cabinets, but on bifold doors as well. Edge pulls, pocket door hardware, door numbers, knockers. A real common item we sell a lot of is the 21250. We sell this all day long in an oil rub bronze finish. This used to be available from Ives. Ives stopped making this and many other items. You can get it from IDH. That's the bottom line. Nice quality hinges as well, in the sense that their fit and finish is always very good with IDH. Always. Always very good fit and finish. I'm always thrilled with what I get from them. Parliament hinges, which are basically wide throw hinges, but something you'll see more commonly on shutters. If you have shutters over windows, you'll see Parliament hinges, cabinet doors as well. The wide throw aspect of it, where the vertical axis of pivoting is further out than you would normally see. You know, this is a 2.5 inch tall hinge, but it's 4.5 inch wide. So it's much wider than a standard hinge. Anyway, you get the point that they have a lot of solutions that you might be able to employ. Let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, a nice quality bolt from IDH. Their finish is good. I've seen a lot of antique brass over the years, and I'll tell you that this is certainly representative of a antique brass finish. They have a good command over the finishing process, and not every manufacturer does. But it's a good antique brass. Absolutely. You know, it's faithful on the knob. It's faithful on the guides themselves. Then, of course, the strikes as well. Nice quality fit and finish. All brass-based components, and screws are included in a complementary finish. Okay, so appears to be very marginally magnetic. Brass should have no magnetism whatsoever. Tells me they're not made of steel, possibly stainless in a complementary finish. The point is, proceed with caution. You don't know what that base material is. You don't want to put that screwdriver on there and give it the old killer Kowalski and shear that screw right in half. So treat it like it's brass. Get a very well-fitting screwdriver, nothing powered, no battery-operated tools on this. And pre-drill the holes properly. Depending on it, whether it be a hardwood or a softwood species, you'd probably want to be at maybe 85% of the root diameter, or maybe 75 or 80% of the root diameter, hardwood versus softwood. I would measure that. I'd be using a wire drill index set as well, not fractional sizes. Any questions on the 11278SB by IDH or any other IDH product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.